Hello and welcome to Mrs. Kiely's video tutorial on grid art. Today we will be drawing the Venus of Brassempouy. With grid art, you need to create a grid on your original visual reference, and we are not enlarging or shrinking our visual reference. So our artwork will be exact same ratio as what our visual reference is. So in order to do that, we need a 1-to-1 ratio. So the grid that I'm putting on the visual reference here is 1 inch by 1 inch. It's 5 by 6 inches in total. I like to number and letter the top and side to help me stay organized. And this, I will create the exact same grid, 5 inch by 6 inch. The trick to getting straight lines in a grid is to put dashes and measure the inches out on all 4 sides and connect the dots. If you just measure out the top and hope that your ruler's straight, you will probably have a bad time with this. So if you want it to be perfect, make sure you take the time to measure it out perfectly. Also, another little tip, keep the lines on your grid in your art really light so you can erase them later when you're drawing in an area that has high value. Your finished product should have no grid lines on it. They should be completely disappeared by the time you're done. So after you have the grids done, the fun part begins, and you look at each box individually and you draw what's inside that box. So you compare, where does it cross over a grid line? Is it in the middle or to the left or to the right? And you ask yourselves those sort of questions to help you get a very accurate and perfect little box. And you move through the little boxes. If you're right-handed, start on the right side. If you're left-handed, start on the left side. That will avoid smudging in your artwork. You really want it nice and clean. And you can see right there I slipped a scrap piece of paper underneath my drawing hand so that I wouldn't smudge the grid that's already down there and under it. At no point in this art do you see me smudging with my finger or with the smudging tool. Everything should be nice and clean. You need to develop those fine little muscles in your hand to control the pencils and get those light values and get those nice blended spaces. Now, I goofed on the second sitting of this artwork, so my apologies for the upside downedness of this part of the video, but I mean, you can still see what's going on and how things are transpiring. So the best way to hide your pencil strokes is to layer it, and you'll see that, and I'll go over some spots over and over again just to really smooth out my pencil marks. The original piece doesn't have pencil strokes, so my artwork should try to hide those as best I can. That's just patience. I'm using a variety of pencils. You can see my little pack there, and the darkest areas I use like the 6B or the 7B to get really dark values, very dark tones. And then for just outlining I use like an H, and then the variety of like the 2B and the 3B and 4B for the middle tones. Just switching them up. A good artist knows what their pencils can do, so warm up by doing little gray scales with each of the pencils so you know how dark a 6B can get or how light it can get. So do a little warm up, and then you'll know what kind of expectations you can have of your pencils when you pick them up and to draw with. My biggest struggle with this piece was her hair on this profile side. The little squares of her dreadlocks were quite difficult to get perfect. So take your time, count them out. You can see my finger on the left hand is really trying to help me keep my place and keep track of where all these little grids are going, little hair grids. Lots of grids in this art. This is a famous sculpture. It was created out of mammoth bone, and it's the first time that facial features are shown in a carving. Most of the time the faces are smooth or blank, or the hair style goes right over the face and you don't see any features. So this is a first, therefore it's an important piece in art history. Well, I hope you enjoyed and benefited from this tutorial video. Happy arting!